want to talk about the fading of perception from the angle of loving kindness, or Metta in Tibetan. So, Metta is loving kindness. It's basically that warmth, that gooiness when we say, may I be kind, may I be whole, may I be safe, may I be loved. It's that feeling of warmth, openness. And actually, what's so interesting is that this love, this openness that we cultivate through metta can be a doorway to the fading of perception. So, the fading of perception being the absence of the experience of self, world, other, all of really everything that can be perceived fades. My last video was on the Jhanas, which is basically deepening levels of samatha meditation that leads to samadhi and the 8 jhanas, and eventually the cessation of all consciousness, which is, again, really crazy if it's your first time hearing about it. But yeah, basically we can experience the cessation of consciousness simply by slowing down our mind, calming it down. And this is where metta can, again, be a doorway to the fading of perception. Because what metta is doing is it's allowing us to open. It's allowing us to be with anything in experience. And interestingly, when we open and we don't resist experience, it starts to fade at deeper and deeper levels. And we can see this in our daily life. For instance, if I'm resisting an event, I'm resisting the end of a relationship, all of a sudden that resistance creates a sense of solidity in the problemness of a situation. Due to my resistance, I create something to resist. The mind is making both sides of it. And when we stop resisting, when we open, when we apply metta, loving kindness perhaps, then simply by opening and not resisting, the solidity of experience starts to fade. And this can be seen in problems, can be seen in my experience of self, when I feel like fear around who I am, what I'm doing. There's a contraction there, and actually a resistance, and that actually solidifies the sense of self. When we start to love, really love ourselves, from all angles, from all, angles, we just apply love over and over again. We'll see even the sense of self starts to fade. Sense of world too, and phenomena in general can begin to fade simply by opening, applying metta, these loving kindness phrases, which is, may I be kind, may I be grounded, may I be whole, may I be loved. I kind of mix them up depending on, what gets the feeling going. So traditionally you apply that to yourself, may I be kind, may I be whole, may I be loved. And then you apply it to another, maybe a friend, get them in your mind's eye and say, may they be loved, may they be kind, may they be whole. And then you work your way out to a group of people, maybe your family, say the same thing, and then may all beings be kind, whole, loved. And you can feel that. If you say that, there's a feeling that gets going after a while. That feeling can grow. And after a while, we actually don't even have to say the phrases anymore. We can just call on that feeling, that metta feeling, that warmth, that gooiness, that we can just, again, sort of bathe over any experience, anything that comes up. And one meditation you can do at that point is really just sitting with perception, anything that arises in experience, bathing it in that metta. And you do that over and over again, and you'll see that the phenomena start to fade. Perception itself starts to fade, and it's actually a doorway to the jhanas, is metta, that feeling of openness. Because what is metta? It's just reducing the aversion that I have to an experience, a person, whatever. Through metta, we lower the aversion to the degree that actually things start to fade. And we see what's so necessary to see is that Perception is dependent on clinging and aversion. When I resist this place, I create something to resist, something solid at the level of, problems in the mind, the level of self, which is often very heady too. It's also a felt sense. But at the level of materiality, which is crazy. Even the material world can start to fade when we really open to it, allow it, stop resisting it. And this takes time and practice, obviously, like everything else. But just to know that this is possible changes everything. Our whole understanding of reality changes when you see that this whole place is actually a dependent arising. It's not just here. Most of the time we're walking around thinking, oh, there's definitely a world out there just existing all the time, no matter what. But what we find in this practice actually is dependent on the state of my mind, specifically clinging and aversion, resistance. When I resist, I create something to resist. When I don't resist, when I don't cling, and I'm not averse to experience starts to fade. The whole world starts to fade. Sense of self, other, a body. You enter the jhanas, and this is not a heady experience. It's a very somatic, full being type of experience. This is dramatic, and I think this information changes things. I would highly recommend people look into this on their own because it's kind of a game changer, and it's real. It really is. I've been meditating for a few years and just started to get into the jhanas, and already meditation is so much juicier when you can just tap into joy, peace, on demand, just by calming down the mind. And this is, again, like a radical joy, a radical peace that you really can't get in touch with in normal consciousness. It's sustained and it's full body. It's energy body. It's a game changer. So thank you. Yeah, this video is basically love and kindness as a doorway to the fading of perception.